All right, so this is my second math tip as I'm looking at my making change, type of scenario. So this time we're looking at organization. So I know you probably had 60 million pieces of paper. You had a syllabus, you have homeworks, you have resources, and everything is all over the place. And right now, September's not even over, and your folder is already filled to the brim. Or your electronic folder is filled to the brim. So one of the things that I'm noticing, especially with a couple of my students, is especially the geometry people, because there is a lot of terminology with geometry. So I was thinking, you know what? We need to work on some organization. So I'm going to show you the math tip for today is how to organize your vocabulary words, as we professionals say it, your terminology. All right, so if anything, there's a couple of things that you will need to do and also to grab. So the needed materials that you need is a manila folder. Yes, manila, not vanilla, manila folder. Okay, if you have a hole puncher, it's not essential, but it's kind of nice to have because I'll show you what you can do with it. We need some blank index cards, some tape, and for once, a pen, right? Okay, usually pencils for us, but pen will be so much better. And then the list of your vocabulary words. That's one thing that you're going to need. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to share my screen real quick so you can see how you can set this lovely thing up. Because what you're going to set up is called a vocab log. Now, I've used this many years ago, especially all my Arundel people. You definitely have seen this before. With your index cards, you have a front and a back, and this is why you use the blank type of index cards, which you can get at Walmart for so far 57 cents, but they might be on sale because they still have their back to sale schools type thing. So on the very front, you're going to write the definition at the top, any key characteristics that that word is associated with. At the very bottom middle, you're actually going to write that vocabulary word, all right? So when you flip your card, let me see if I can also flip this. On the back of the card, you're going to write an example, and then you're also going to show a picture, all right? So I'm going to show you what exactly I am talking about. So on the very front, you are going to write the definition and the key characteristics. So right now, if I take a look at my complementary angles, I have my definition on the very top. I have the key characteristics underneath it. And then I have the vocabulary word right at the very bottom. I like to use highlighters so it can really pop and really stand out because I know after a while, everything kind of gets bunched up. So now, let's say that this is my card, this is me. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip the card away from me. So that means I'm going to go like this, okay? So notice I'm turning the card. Let me turn it this way. I'm turning the card away from me, not towards me, away from me. Because when I flip it away from me, now I can write on the very back the examples. And also, let me see if I can show that. Okay, you're writing the very examples. And you're also drawing a picture on the very back. So here's my examples, of my complementary angles. And then here is some of the pictures that's associated with it. Now, you're probably wondering, how's this manila folder going to play a part? Let me tell you. Before we do anything, if you are planning on keeping your log in a binder, it will be great if you were able to hole punch the very bottom. So you're going to have like 3 holes because what's going to happen with your log, you can actually stick it in your binder and you can carry it wherever you want to go, okay? So it's very portable. But before we think about putting any of these cards inside of our folder, because we're involving tape, glue is not going to work. Tape only, okay? Because this is what we're going to do. You're going to tape the first card slightly above the holes. So let's just pretend that there's a hole here. And I'm going to put my first card right over top of it. Okay? So let me hide this for a second. So you're going to put this right over top of wherever that first hole is, not too far up, to about to here, and then you're going to put a piece of tape at the very top. It doesn't have to span the whole entire card, just a little piece of tape right at the very top. So after you do that, you're going to place the next card, okay, of this one slightly above it. So maybe you might see what I'm doing here. So it's going slightly above it, and then I'm going to put a piece of tape right over here, okay? So what's going to happen is if I keep repeating this process over and over again, let's see what you're going to get. Ooh, you are going to get a vocab log. Let me peek around here so I can get this. All right, so if you notice, I had some from my previous student, and I just basically drew one myself so she can see it as a model. So if you ever come across a word, so let's say plane, for instance. Okay, I want to know what a plane is. If I lift this up, I have the definition of a plane, I have the key characteristics, and plus the word. So now, when I kind of go, it's kind of hard for me to do it with one hand here. If I flip to the back of a plane, I have an example of it, and I have a picture of it. Actually, I have two pictures of it. But I also wrote down how you should read it. You should read it as a letter, like plain M, if it's just a cursive capital letter, or plain DEF, because you can name it with 3 points that's within that structure. All right? So you basically made a flip book, right? Nuts, right? But because you're doing the actual writing of the definition, you're helping your brain to process not only the word, but also the meaning. And just by looking at it, I'm very visual. So for me, I actually have a visual of how to, or examples of what the word actually means. So whenever I feel one side, I'm going to work on the other side. So you're probably saying, well, okay, what about the other side? Do I just keep going? Now, you don't want to just keep going all the way down, because eventually you're going to want to close it. So my suggestion would be, as these are going this way, your next set of cards that's on this side will also go towards the middle. So everything like the fanfare should be going towards the middle. So that means you can easily close and then put in your binder. All right? Right? Fun stuff. Look at me giving you tips. All right? Now, if you're in a class, this doesn't have to just work for math. It can work for anything. It can work for science. It can work for social studies. It can work for anything that you wanted to do. Now, let's say that you're in a computer class and all you want your kids is to learn how to log in and log off. You can use this as steps. Here's step 1, here's step 2, here's step 3. And they can basically, instead of taking a whole entire folder, you can actually have it folded in half, cut it, and then you'll have your own personal one here and one there. So now you got 2 kids out of 1 folder. Economic. And right, if you have any kind of questions or any kind of concerns, please do not hesitate to contact me. I will give you all my information at the very end of this video, and hopefully this helped you out. So hoping you guys are doing all right, and I will be back next week, next Thursday around this time, to give you another math tip that will help you out. Okay, guys, take care.